I remember the way Leo looked at him in those final seconds, just before the warrior's world went dark. It wasn't anger or even triumph. It was something, I don't know, maybe a quiet kind of mercy. I saw it myself, Leo leaning in so close their foreheads almost touched, his breath coming in hot, ragged gasps against the alien's scales. He reached out and placed his hand, wrapped in rough, stained gauze, right over the warrior's primary heart. I saw the way his fingers trembled just a little. It was a moment of deep, raw vulnerability that made the air in the room feel thin. Truth is, I don't think either of them even noticed me standing there by the edge of the ring. But look, you have to understand the arrogance that led to that moment. It didn't start with respect. It started with a laugh that echoed through the observation deck of Spire Station 14 3 days earlier. Varnak Storm was a legend, a mountain of a Khazul who thought he knew everything there was to know about violence. He spent the whole afternoon mocking the human athletic feed. He kept pointing at the screen, all four arms gesturing wildly as he watched a recording of an old Earth heavyweight bout. He called those gloves padded mittens of deceptive destruction. He thought the padding was there to protect the attacker, a sign of weakness. To him, it was just surgical violence disguised as a game for children. He didn't see the art. He didn't see the danger. He just saw a lack of claws. I remember the smell of the station that day, recycled air, hot electronics, and the faint metallic tang of ozone from the shield generators. Leo Thorne was sitting just a few feet away, working a piece of leather with his calloused hands. He was small, even for a human, but there was a stillness to him that felt heavy. I could see the internal scars in the way he kept his head down, avoiding the warrior's gaze. Varnax wouldn't let it go. He kept goading him. He called the human style a joke, a primitive display from a species that had forgotten how to kill. Truth is, I think he just wanted to see if the little guy would break. And Leo, he didn't snap. He didn't even raise his voice. He just looked up, his eyes locking onto the warrior's four golden ones. He told Varnax that he didn't need claws to find the off switch of consciousness found in a human fist. The challenge was issued right there, under the humming lights of the deck. A sanctioned match. Human rules. No extra limbs, just two hands and a lifetime of technical obsession. I saw the first spark when they finally stepped into the ring. The atmosphere was thick, vibrating with the pulse of the ship's core. When the bell rang, Varnax moved like a landslide. He was fast, sure, but he was wide. Leo didn't move much. He just pivoted. A fraction of an inch. I saw the sweat spray from Leo's hair as he slipped a massive blow that would have cracked a bulkhead. Then, he stepped inside. It was the persistence hunter's long game playing out in seconds. He landed a single, sharp jab to the warrior's throat plate. It wasn't a big move, but the way Varnax gasped, I knew then, this wasn't a game. It was a lesson. I remember the sound most of all. Not the roar of the few onlookers or the constant low-frequency thrum of the Spire's life support, just the wet, heavy thud of Leo's fist binding that sweet spot right behind Varnax's jaw. I was right there, close enough to see the spray of sweat fly off them like diamonds in the harsh LED glare. I saw it myself, the way Varnax's massive four-armed frame just stalled. It was like watching a capital ship lose primary power in the middle of a jump. He didn't just fall, he crumbled, his weight hitting the deck with a force that I felt in my own teeth. Leo didn't celebrate. He didn't even stand up straight right away. He stayed low, his chest heaving, his breath coming in those ragged, burning hitches that happen when you've pushed a human body past its red line. I remember the way his hands looked as he started to peel back the blood-spattered gauze. They were shaking, not from fear. I've seen fear, and this wasn't it, but from the sheer vibrating exhaustion of maintaining that level of technical obsession for 12 rounds. The medbots swarmed in, their blue scanners flickering over the fallen giant, but I kept my eyes on Leo. Truth is, I don't think he even saw the machines. He was looking at the warrior he just dismantled with the kind of surgical precision you usually only see in a high-end repair bay. An hour later, I was leaning against the cold, vibrating bulkhead of the medbay. The air in there was different, sharper, smelling of sterile ozone and the faint, sweet scent of the blue gel they used to knit Kazul's skin back together. Leo was sitting on a hard plastic crate right next to the warrior's healing cradle. He looked tiny compared to the mountain of muscle on the table, but the energy in the room, look, it didn't feel like a victor and a loser. It felt like two ends of a bridge finally meeting. I saw Leo reach out. His hand was small, the knuckles raw and swollen, a deep, angry purple against the pale skin. He placed it right on Varnax's primary shoulder, the one he'd spent 30 minutes tenderizing with those stinging jabs. I saw the electric spark of skin meeting metal-hard scales. It was a quiet, heavy moment. Varnax opened his golden eyes. They weren't full of the arrogance I'd seen on the observation deck. They were clear, almost bright with a new kind of understanding. He didn't try to get up. He just looked at Leo's battered hands and let out a long, vibrating sigh that made the medical monitors chirp in protest. He told him right then, in a voice that sounded like grinding stones, that he'd spent his whole life looking for a monster, only to find the most dangerous thing in the galaxy was a human with a plan. I remember the way Leo just nodded, his thumb tracing a slow, rhythmic circle over the warrior's skin. He didn't need to say anything. The persistence hunter had finally caught what he was after, and truth is, I think they both felt a little less alone in the dark of space because of it. I stayed until the lights dimmed, just watching them, the legend and the man who broke it, finding a strange kind of peace in the wreckage of a fight. Would you like me to generate a cinematic image of Leo and Varnax in the med bay reflecting on their battle?